Hello everyone, my name is Sunny. I'm with cmh3studio and today is a codoozer tutorial. It's related to calling APIs using local GPS information. Let's get started. In the tutorial today, we're going to go over how do you pull back those local GPS variables using the keywords at app.location. And I'm also going to show you how to call that API URL using the function type web. And then we'll go over the demo app that I've created. It's called Hurricane and Weather Info, and this app uses this GPS information from the phone. Alright, so I've opened up the codoozer app. And let me go to the beginning. Alright, so when you start developing in codoozer and you want to pull back the variables, the most important thing that you have to know when you get started is that you're going to have to somehow in one of the views, probably like your splash screen, that's what I've done here, use your splash screen to do an onload event where you pull back the GPS or the at app.location value from the application. And that's important because the app has to ask for permission to get that device information. So I have the latest download of this file, and let me load that up here. And I'll show you what I'm talking about where this device has to ask for permission first. If you don't get this permission to allow the mobile application to call the GPS service on the phone, then none of this is going to work. So I'll launch the app here, and this is what I'm talking about. Allow hurricanes and weather, this app, to access this device's location. This is what this first view, this splash screen, is doing. This is my splash screen. This is the view right here, and it has just some background and some video and a link at the beginning. And so I'm just kind of setting up the ability for a view to use the set function and grab the value at app.location. And what I'm doing is I'm setting it to a property called GPS, and I use properties to store information on the app. So if you just click start here, this is the first page of the app. It's the main view, and as you can see here, because I allowed the app to use my device's locations, I'm able to call an API with the latitude and longitude in order to get this information back from the call to the API. So let's see that on the mobile app or the codoozer web environment. So when we first start the app, we go to the splash screen. This is that splash screen, and then like I said, it gives you this little image which is a link. But the most important thing is on loaded, I've asked the app to go get the device's location. That was that pop-up that said, do you allow or deny this application to access this phone's or this device's location. And once that was allowed, now we're free to use the other keywords in here. So that's that screen. You have to first launch a codoozer view to ask permission basically for the location or the GPS. And like I said, at app.location is a good way to initiate that call. That'll make this happen here. When the user clicks allow, then we're good to start on the next part of this app. So on the main view, in this top left corner, and I know you don't see it in this screenshot, and that's also how it is on the visor view. You can see on the visor view or the main view that information is absent, but when we, of course, we launch the app, it pulls that information back. So how is it doing that? Well, what you have to do is in the URL that you're using to call the API, I have to provide the latitude and the longitude for this API to know where are we talking about, what location, what latitude, what longitude do you want me to go get the current weather for. So on the main view, under the events, I want to show you those first. What I do here is this keyword @app.location.latitude, and that'll give us the latitude from the device. And right now I'm setting that to @property.lat. I'm going to use this later in the API. And then I also do, it's the same thing except for it's .longitude at the end. And of course I'm setting that to property.lon, LON, for that. And I do that at preload. So this one was unloaded, ask for permission. This is now preloaded. Go get this specific information since it's already been allowed. And once I get that value set for the property.lat and the property.lon, I can then plug them into the URL that has the API address on it. So all this information up to here is what the API has to have, and then what I did is where it says, where it normally would have a number like 34, I'm asking it to go get my device's latitude number and place it here. And then the same thing, instead of the longitude being negative 95 or something like that, I'm asking the app to take these values from down in the preload down here and set them right there. And I put them inside of parentheses. That was something else I had to figure out. But if you put them inside of parentheses, it's just like they were values that were already there the whole time. And so to get that to display, when you call that API, you have to, in this case I used a type web as my content. So I got type web right here. And then for the when you have type web, it puts this URL right there, and you have to put something in there, and that's where this API that I got from a website called Open Weather, and I used that to populate this value that is needed for the screen. So the main view, set your properties on preload. The latitude will be set with @property.lat, the longitude property.lon, and I will use them both later in the API call. And that's what this slide is showing here. Type web, URL, supplement your latitude and longitude at the appropriate places using the @property, or whatever you called it, @property.lat and @property.lon inside of parentheses. There's also, with this open weather map, I was able to do the same thing. So on here, I think it's this link right here, I call this open weather map. And I can set different things in here on this properties. So this is calling another URL. This is under my API pool view. Very similarly, I had to use web, I had to post in the URL. I supplemented my app_property.lat, my app_property.lon, and I'm able to access this map as well. Just reusing the properties over and over again. And that's actually it for how do you take a GPS values from a device and use them later in the app. Remember, the most important thing is to have a view. So if you just want to have a screen that comes up that the user can click on to go on to the next main screen, but in this very first, and I called it splash screen, I onload, which causes the onloaded. I set the property.gps. I actually don't use this property later, but you have to put something, so I just put that. And then the value, this is the key part, at app.location causes this trigger, this access request to happen on the device. And once you've got that, your device is now willing and able to respond to any other requests such as these, which is really just it's the same at app.location, but it has the word latitude if you just want the latitude, and at app_location.longitude if you just want the longitude. I had to separate those because the API had them in different spots, right? It had latitude equal to this, longitude equal to that. So I had to split them up. I couldn't use the whole string. And then I did the same thing on this one called Open Weather Map. So I think on the app, the only things that are here that really aren't related to the GPS is I have a map, which calls, this is in another tutorial, I think, where how you use maps with codoozer. And this one just pulls back a map of my current location. Doesn't do anything else. I'm sure I could add some functionality here if I wanted to, but right now this is just a map. And then this last one is a hurricane. I call a API to get, it's not an API, it's just a hyperlink, like a URL to go get hurricane information from different from this website. So you can see hurricane info. Alright guys, that's today's tutorial. I hope you found it interesting. Just a couple of footnotes here. I was going to show you, if you go to YouTube and you type codoozer and you hit enter, you should be able to find another streamer. His site is called DIY Entrepreneur, and I really encourage you to check this guy out. He is a very smart individual. He is one of the co-founders and writers and developers of the codoozer product, and he knows quite a bit. He has pages in English and in Spanish, so if you're a Spanish fluent user, you'll find this very helpful. If you're English, there are also English streams as well. And this is the guy I go to when I need help. And I found a lot of his videos, even if they're not in English, I found I was able to follow them pretty well, kind of like you do with me. If you're going through codoozer and you find out, if you just watch them go through their pages, you see what fields they're putting in there and how they're doing it. So I encourage you to check out the DIY Entrepreneur. I believe he also has another website, but this is the one I'm thinking of right now. And then on library, if you go to lbry.tv, and if you search there, codoozer, you'll be able to find most of the posts that I've been putting here, as well as to YouTube. just more, I guess, more resources for you to find information about how to do mobile app development, even with MobileCube and codoozer. All right. Well, if you like what you see, please come check out the channel. On library, you can click follow to follow me. And if you feel like supporting, you can click support and add your own LBC in there. You actually get LBC for viewing content. You actually don't have to create your own content. You can just view other people's content and earn LBC. And then on, of course, YouTube, please make sure to click subscribe and the notification bell to catch any new videos that I add or upload, as well as check out the DIY Entrepreneur. I'm sure you appreciate it. Alright, that's all I got for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll talk to you later. You have a wonderful evening.